Great. So would you like to each introduce yourselves? So I'll ask Akiva, are you able to introduce yourself first? Tell us a bit more about you, or is it a bit noisy?
That's fun.
Try to find the best ones.
We're all a little bit noisy. I'm visiting from South Africa. I've got an accounting and tax background.
Yeah.
And I am seeking new opportunities, and I've had a few discussions with Melanie, and she's really great in what she does, and yeah, I can say just be open to opportunities, and it's always good to know where one's skills lay, and also just be open to opportunities, as one never knows what's in the horizon.
And in terms of qualifications, Akiva, you've got an accountancy qualification in South Africa, haven't you? Just so
Right, so I'm not a CA. I've got a BCom accounting and honours in taxation, and I'm studying ACCA at the moment to further my accounting career.
Thank you so much for sharing. How's it going, the ACCA?
It's going very good so far. It's basically it's a recap of my local degree, so it's going well so far.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming. And Sophia, if I could just ask you to introduce yourself.
Hi there. I'm Sophia. I am currently in university doing philosophy at King's College. The overall goal in life is to essentially move into masters and then a law conversion, and then ideally the bar, but that's a bit far in advance, so I'll see how that goes. So yeah, I've been living in London for about 5 years now, and prior I lived in Australia and Ukraine as well.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm just currently seeking new opportunities. I've had some experience in firms as well in property law, so I'm seeking something with maybe a bit more legal experience or admin experience, just to carry me and my CV through to uni, basically.
Okay, well, thank you, and we can definitely help you with that at Work Avenue. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. So I'm now going to ask Natalie to introduce herself, and Natalie is one of my former clients. Just put yourself off mute. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Yeah, it's really nice to meet you all. I'm Natalie. As Hannah said, I worked with her last year. So I am currently a student. I go to the University of Birmingham and I study biomed. And I'm in my third year of university. But during my third year, I'm on a work placement at Pfizer. I work in medical affairs, which is kind of like the non-promotional disease area kind of space, and I work in anti-infective, so a lot of my work is kind of creating disease awareness surrounding antimicrobial resistance, and kind of appropriate use of medicines and stuff like that, and I'm really enjoying it. And I kind of got originally involved in Work Avenue because when I was trying to apply to that opportunity, I spoke to Hannah about interviews and application process, and yeah, she helped me out with kind of putting that together, and that ultimately led me to get the role I have today, which obviously I'm really grateful for. And kind of through that experience, essentially, I spoke to a lot of my friends at university, and we had discussions about kind of, what support I got on kind of my applications and how I put it together and so on and so forth. And I told them about Work Avenue. And it turned out that not a lot of Jewish students had heard of Work Avenue, which I thought was a shame, because I had a really great experience and it really helped me with kind of putting together my my application and so on. So I had some discussions with the team at Work Avenue and thought it would be a really nice idea to put together a student ambassador program to kind of get some more outreach for Work Avenue to students around the country. So yeah, they can have the same kind of support as I did, really. So yeah, that's kind of the basis of my experience. I don't know, Hannah, if there's anything else you want me to cover, but yeah, it's a bit of a kind of summary of my journey, really.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I mean, unless anybody's got any questions for Natalie about how she found her internship.
Maybe it'd be good to hear that anyway, Natalie. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to cover that. My placement has been super interesting. It's definitely given me a basis of kind of experience in which to get some graduate jobs and so on. And I know that's kind of something I'll be going into next year, hopefully, maybe with the work avenues help again. But I mean, every time I speak to people about getting placement, yeah, I would highly recommend it. I think I didn't realize how useful it would be until I actually did it. But kind of the skills you get and kind of the business mindset that I've gained from doing it has been completely different to anything that I had before. And I feel like those kind of, even if I didn't go into kind of pharmaceuticals or so on after university, the transferable skills I've got and the projects that I've been able to work on kind of nationally that have had such a large impact on the kind of the healthcare landscape around the whole country is completely invaluable to future employment opportunities to begin with, plus kind of meeting all those new people, networking, and just great contacts for the future, really. So I've had a really great time. The people I've worked with have been really great. I'm very, very supportive, which I think is definitely a massive aspect to why the Pfizer undergraduate placement is really great, because they are very supportive in all your opportunities you want to do. I've been kind of given opportunities to basically craft it how I want to craft it, and do what I want with it, and seek the opportunities that I think maybe kind of will develop my experiences further. And obviously they've kind of inputted in what they think might be useful for me to do. But yeah, giving me those opportunities have really kind of enhanced my CV massively, and it's definitely useful to have in the future. So I'm so glad I did it.
Thanks so much, Natalie, and congrats again on getting your placement. Sounds like an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it's been such a good opportunity.
Sure, thanks so much. And I know you need to leave early, so thank you so much for joining us. So before we go into the presentation, where we'll be telling you a little bit more about what we can offer you at Work Avenue and a bit more about the Student Ambassador Scheme, I thought it'd be fun to do a quick quiz. So don't worry if you don't know the answers, but just put what you think in the chat. So question number 1, which sector is currently employing the most graduates? A, B, or C? So you can shout out or just put in the chat whatever you think. And don't worry if you don't know. Okay, so interesting. So everyone thinks C, apart from Natalie. Let's see. So yeah, so Natalie was right. So the health sector is actually currently the biggest employer of graduates. It's 16.4% of graduates go into the health sector currently. So question 2. So what percentage of graduates were unemployed 15 months after graduating, based on the most current statistics? Any ideas? Just have a guess. So mix of answers, but Akiva was right, so it's 7.7. And which one of these is a good way to improve graduate employability? So waiting until graduation to start applying, preparing a strong CV, or chatting to your friends? I think this one's pretty obvious. Yeah. Yeah, I think you will guess that one. So preparing a strong CV, which we can definitely help you with at Work Avenue. So what is the most likely outcome for UK graduates after graduation? So I don't think anybody got this one, but it's actually going on to full-time work. So typically 15 months after graduating, most graduates go on to full-time work. I think it's around 75%. So things we can offer students at Work Avenue or graduates.
I don't know who added in the,
So,
this
Heather,
part.
why, look, everybody needs to earn an income. So I understand that they want to go for full-time work, but why don't they look for the training positions as option B first?
Some do. There's just it's just that's the percentage that a lot of people want to go to work once they've got their degree. That's where they seem to want to go. So
Yeah.
3/4 of people.
But I'm just saying generally, is that not like a good approach to start with? First to look for a graduate training and then look for full-time work afterwards? Or is it no set recipe?
I mean, I think around 20% go on to further study, but I guess it depends on the person whether they need to do further study to get where they want to be.
Okay.
If you go to the,
So, for example, if they wanted to be a solicitor or a barrister like Sophia, that they would need to do further study. But they might be able to get into it straight from graduation.
Okay.
So installed on CloudWatch.
The ways we can help graduates. So we have dedicated one-to-one tailored guidance and interview preparation. So we help graduates with choosing career options, navigating the jobs market, giving careers advice. So we're trained careers advisors. We can help them with things like finding internships or jobs whilst they're at university to making applications. We can help with things like CVs and cover letters, preparing for assessments, etc. We have really good access to jobs and networks at Work Avenue. So we're very connected with employers. We have a jobs board on our website, so we can put people forward for jobs that are on our site. We can help connect with people that aren't necessarily on our site. And we have a lot of networking events that we run to help get students connected. So typically 1 in 3 clients that gets interviewed for any of the jobs on our site that we've put forward, 1 in 3 gets employed. So we also run workshops as well as the one-to-one advice that we offer. So we have a student and graduate networking event, which is coming up in October, which we'll give you some more information about. We also run CV application form and cover letter workshops. We run workshops on transferable skills and building your confidence and networking skills and LinkedIn workshops, as well as interview skills workshops. And these all can be found on our website under the events section. And anything you're interested in, you can just book onto. So a lot of people studying a degree might not necessarily know what they want to do in the future, or you might be kind of thinking, what's the best thing for me? So if you're not really sure what you want to do, or you want to know a bit more about how to get into where you want to be, a really good starting point would be thinking about what your skills and your strengths are. So what are you good at during your degree, or what have you been good at during your work experience, or what have you enjoyed? And also thinking about what you don't want to do. So what haven't you enjoyed? What modules aren't you so good at? And that might help you to make a decision about what career you want to go into. So a really good starting point could be to use the Prospects website. Show of hands if you've seen the Prospects website before. So I always recommend it to students because it's kind of got everything in one place, but a really good starting point for that is using the planner. So that's a careers quiz, which asks you a series of questions, and then based on how you answer the questions, shows you what careers might be suitable for you. So that could give you some more ideas of things you might never have thought of before. So once you've taken the quiz, or even instead of taking the quiz, you can go to the jobs profile section where you can research different jobs, and it tells you typically how to get into each career, where to look for jobs, what skills are needed in that particular career, where to get work experience, etc. So aside from that, you could be attending careers fairs that your university is putting on and networking with employers that way, but also attending our careers fair that we're having in October, and make an appointment with your Work Avenue advisor. So we'll give you some information at the end about how to make an appointment. And we can give you up to an hour where we can give you guidance and advice on your next steps. And boost your CV with work experience. So for example, getting involved in our student ambassador program. So things you might want to be doing after you graduate. So you've got lots of different options. aside from just going into work. So you could go on and do an internship to build up your experience, and that's something you could be doing now as well, over the holidays or in your own time. And that's where you're doing a period of paid or unpaid work just for on a temporary basis, just to gain experience. You might want to go straight into your first graduate job, or you might want to go on to do postgraduate study. So say, for example, we spoke about before, doing an SQE or doing a PGC to become a teacher, or doing a master's, etc. You might want to do a graduate apprenticeship where you're doing a master's and working at the same time, which might be a scheme put on by a company. Or you might want to go on and do a graduate scheme where you're doing training and a high level qualification at the same time that isn't necessarily a master's. You might want to start up a business. So if you've got a business idea and you've got some experience, you might just want to go straight into building your own business. And we have a team of business advisors like Natalie's mum who can help you with that. Or you might want to take a year out and just volunteer and travel and build up on your interest and experience, or just take some time out. Or you might want to do further training, which isn't necessarily a master's. So you might want to, for example, do an AAT qualification, or you might change career completely and just do further training to get into something completely different. So there's lots of options for after you graduate. It's just deciding which one is the best for you in line with your aims. And we can help you navigate this at Work Avenue. So what can I do now to prepare for later? And I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Melanie.
Thanks, Hannah. So what we thought would be quite useful when we started really is sort of give you a little bit of a just back one, please, Hannah, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Just back one. And one again. Is to think about the kind of things that you might want to do to prepare for later. But really what we're doing is we're giving you a little bit of a taster session of some of the things that we do at Work Avenue, because as student ambassadors, and we'll talk about what actually your role will involve as a student ambassador, we will ask you to promote some of our services as part of that role. So obviously it's good for you to know what are those services, and so that there's sort of like a dual approach in a way, in that you're benefiting from the services, and obviously to benefit from them you need to know what those are, and you need to feel that benefit yourselves in order to promote it to other people. So sort of a starting point for my part is to talk about sort of what sort of things can you do to prepare for later. So if you're on, not just yet, sorry Hannah, I'm just lost first. So sorry, that's the thing when you're not the person who slides, true Chris Whitty style, if we remember him. Thank goodness in some ways we've forgotten him. What sort of things can you do to prepare for later? You may have had a glimpse of them already. Just some thoughts on what you might do. Anybody got any ideas, either in the chat or just shout them out? Thoughts on what things you might do? Okay, so we'll move on. Thanks, Hannah. To the next slide. And the one after. All of them. There, that's it. So you might want to, it's worth thinking in advance before you graduate about how to gain experience. And the more experience you have on your CV, the better. And if that's related to what you do, so much the better, or what you want to do, so much the better. But actually, you can use work experience to help you decide what you'd like to do, so to try something out. And you can also do it as a way of gaining some experience that's not directly related. So for example, even if you work in a shop, but you want to actually not work in a shop in the future, you're still gaining customer service skills. So any experience is valuable. That said, if you want to get into a particular area, try and get an internship in an area that you want to be in, if that's possible. Volunteering is a really good way of gaining experience. So the ideal obviously is to try and get an internship paid if you can, because students always need money and it's always worth trying to get some money if you can. But even unpaid internships do give you some work experience, so applying for them. volunteering to gain as much experience as you possibly can. And there are some good volunteering websites. The Jewish one is jvn.org.uk, the Jewish Volunteering Network, and they provide really a jobs board, but it's unpaid job opportunities, and that's a good way of gaining some work experience. And the sort of the secular equivalent is Reach Volunteering. And that's another one that's very useful. Work placements, as Natalie mentioned, she's been on a work placement for a year. She took a year out to do that, and she's gained a huge amount of experience doing that. That doesn't mean that's that's for everybody, but it is it's something to think about. And if not, to try and get a work placement through the summer holidays perhaps, or at some other point. And work shadowing, talking to people who you know in some way, to get really an insight into what their work involves. And I think that when you can't get work experience, just saying to somebody, perhaps family, friends, I'd really find it really valuable to come and shadow you for a day or two. Would that be possible? And you hope that if you know someone well enough, then they would be happy with that. It's finding work for you that sometimes they'll agree to and sometimes they won't, but actually shadowing where you're watching what they do can also be very valuable. And of course you meet people along the way. Next slide, please, Hannah. So we talk a lot about networking at Work Avenue. So building your network, talking to people is a great way to get to know people. And the more people you know, the more chance there is you'll get a job. So that's one of the purposes of this student ambassador program. It will grow. That's the idea, is that we grow it. There will be more people in it, and there will be a group of people who will know each other. And it's not just who you know, it's who they know. So you might know somebody and you might think, well, they don't do anything, that's remotely related to what I do, but you don't know who they know. So, someone who studies philosophy is not only going to be friends with people who study philosophy, because that would make you very boring indeed. We all obviously branch out. So talking to someone and saying to them, I see you're connected to perhaps on LinkedIn. And who's on LinkedIn? Are you on LinkedIn? On LinkedIn, yes. Akiva, are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I am.
Yes, good, brilliant. So using LinkedIn to see somebody is working in a field that interests you. And then if you're connected to somebody, reaching out to them and saying to them, I'm really interested in, I've just recently graduated, or I'm studying, and I'm really interested in talking to as many people as possible. Just wondered if I could have a chat with you, a brief chat with you, 15, 20 minutes, to find out more about what you do. And people often are often very happy, more often than not, to help people who are looking for a career. And also people are very happy to talk about what they do. So it's when you ask, have you got a job for me, that sometimes the answer might be negative. So always ask for information rather than asking for a job, because you're more likely to get a conversation that way. People will then talk to you, they will, and if they know of a job, they'll still tell you about it. Without you actually asking the question. So that's just a little tip, is to really ask for information, not about a job. People also, when they're recruiting, people always prefer to know somebody, even if they know them through somebody else and through somebody else. So, the more networking you do. Use social media as much as you can. I'm sure you are already. Go along to uni career fairs if they run them. Our student networking events, company open days, whatever you can really, because meeting people is often a key to finding a job. It's also actually, when you're applying for a job, people like it if you're well networked, because it's useful in business to be well networked. If you know people, people are more likely to take you on, because it sells their business, it sells their work. There's often a networking opportunity within business. That doesn't mean you should forget about recruitment agencies. Do register with recruitment agencies, specialist ones, and sort of all the well-known graduate websites like Milk Round and so on. because actually at the moment it's quite a buoyant job market. We do actually have, it's a sort of a buyer's market in inverted commas, in that there are more jobs around than there normally are. And recruitment agencies, you know, sort of want people to register. But of course, don't spend all your time with agencies, you know, look at networking, look at making direct applications to companies, look at graduate schemes, certainly for you, Sophia. Okay, next slide, please, Hannah. By the way, feel free to ask questions at any point, either in the chat or just by talking, because it's a very small group. Very happy for you to do that. So this is in our sort of whistle-stop tour through the things we do. So we run a workshop on each of these things. So we've got one on networking I was just talking about, called Making Connections to Find a Job, and we have another one on preparing a CV and cover letters. So this is obviously a whistle-stop tour through what we do. So just one slide on each, but you can always find out more through our more detailed workshops. So the most important thing about a CV and cover letters and job applications is to adapt them to the job you're going for. So the approach where you send one CV off to loads of companies has long gone. And, you know, sort of that happened many years ago, where you could, you know, write 100 CVs, just copy them off and send them all off. That just doesn't work anymore. So you really have to spend time on each job application, and depends on how long you take to do things. But, you know, so the average is roughly half to 1 day on each job application, approximately, very approximately. But it's time. It needs time. Use their words. There's no concern about plagiarism with job applications. If they've got some words in their person specification, they've got some words in their job description, they've thought long and hard about those words. Use them when you're making your job application, because actually then you're using what they've got in their heads about how they want to choose people. So don't worry about that at all. But the important thing is that you substantiate what they're asking for. So competency-based answers, giving examples that provide evidence that you say that you can do what you say you can do. So, for example, if they're asking for good teamworking skills, explain where you've given an example of a time when you've worked well in a team. And don't worry about fulfilling absolutely 100% of what they've asked for. The person's spec, an advert, is often a wish list. And if you can fulfill 75% of what they're asking for, probably you'll be in a position to apply. Of course, it depends which 75%. So if you're applying to the bar, I think, you know, you're going to have your legal qualification. But you know, on the whole, you don't be too concerned if you haven't got absolutely everything. Transferable skills, sometimes called soft skills, teamwork, communication, those kinds of skills do count for a lot. Explain how your experience matches in a good cover letter. Be enthusiastic, show your interest in the organisation. That matters. So you have to do your research on the organisation to talk about why that organisation is of interest. And you use examples from, this is where you need examples. You need to have done voluntary work. You need to have done an internship or something. Some kind of work experience is useful. And of course, we have our workshop to give you more information, and also one-to-one employment advisor appointments as well. Next slide, please, Hannah. Okay, so another workshop we run is interview skills, because having produced your good CV and your good cover letters, then you get an interview. That's the next stage. And the key for interviews really is to prepare well. Preparation gives you confidence, helps to create that great first impression. The best way to prepare is read the job description and personal specification thoroughly. So you've got to be very organised. You've got to remember where you've applied and who to, because you might get invited to an interview weeks after you make that first application. And so you want to be able to go back and see the job description and the personal spec. Excuse me. Prepare examples that demonstrate your skills and competencies so that you can answer those competency-based questions that will come up. Research the company. Look at the wider sector as well. Who are their competitors? Who are they? Have they been in the news? Be aware of what's going on, and then plan answers to typical questions, and also plan questions for them. Questions about the role, not questions about terms and conditions or salary or anything like that. They can all be done later. You want to show you're very interested in the role that's at hand. And do book a Work Avenue interview preparation session. We can often set those up at quite short notice too, because interviews sometimes are at short notice, to help you to prepare for an interview once you get that. Excellent, thank you. So before we start talking about the Student Ambassador Programme itself, any questions on what we've just covered about what we do? Anything that sort of has come up for you that you've got any questions about that you'd like us to help you with? Okay, all right. So that was a whistle-stop tour through what we do at the moment, what we do. So what is this Student Ambassador Programme, and what will I be doing? So the idea of this programme as a student ambassador is that you'll be part of a vibrant team of like-minded students who are looking to help Work Avenue events and other services. And the thinking behind this is that peer-to-peer people are much more likely to be interested. So we have a lot of services, as you can see. They are valuable to students, and we do see lots of students, but we don't get the word out as much as we would like to, because peer-to-peer is so much better. Now, I think you can sort of see by the number of people who are here today that us telling people hasn't worked enough, it hasn't worked sufficiently. So it's so much better if you as students are able to talk to fellow students and tell them about our services, and then they tell more. So the same way as networking is not who you know, it's who they know. You telling more people who then tell more people means that more people can benefit from our services. So that's what we're looking for. The benefits for you. Employers love to see fun extracurricular activities when you apply for jobs. So if you've done that, if you're somebody who's not sort of sat around, and well, not that you sit around as a student, some do, but you won't. You've not just done your course. You've done other things, and certainly something that's so related to work can only be good on your CV. You'll be demonstrating key skills. Time management, presentation skills, customer service, networking skills, all those skills sort of come into both promoting services and building up a network yourselves. It shows you participated in university life outside of your studies. And really you would play a pivotal role in our marketing and outreach activity. You'll be promoting ready curated content. So we create the content and we just ask you to post and share it on social media for us, and tell your friends about it so that they then hopefully then join the Student Ambassador Programme as well, and benefit in the same way as you do. Very little time on your part. We're not asking for very much. We're asking for you to repost things really, and join a WhatsApp group, which hopefully is a nice community for you. So our next event, so we'll run events from time to time that we will invite you along to. And our next one, because of the summer period, so there's nothing in between apart from promoting it, is the 3rd of October. 5:30 to 7. It's a career networking online event. And what we do is we invite employers from all different sectors. So from law to accountancy to digital marketing, you name it, we've got most of the sectors covered. And you can choose in breakout rooms. So we have some speakers, and then you can choose in breakout rooms to go to the speakers that interest you most. And these are often people who are former clients of ours, quite often sort of a few years post-graduation, and are talking about how they got to where they are today, and giving you tips on what to do. So it's something that we've run for quite a few years now. We have run it in person in the past. We've run it since lockdown. We've run it online, and it's been more successful because we've got people from all over the country to join us. So I think that's our plan. So that's the date for your diary, 5:30 to 7 on the 3rd of October. Next slide, please. So in summary, the things that you can gain from this are chance to boost your CV, chance to be part of our network, first access to our services. As soon as we've got jobs, we'll be, we think of all our clients, but we'll certainly know you better, obviously, and that's, being only human, that's got to help. And then top skills that employers like to see. Next slide, please. So, sorry, the one before. You'll be able to enhance your job applications by talking about voluntary experiences effectively as your voluntary experience. So I gave you volunteering organisations to talk about, but this is one on its own that can go straight on your CV. Next one, please, Hannah. Direct access to our wide connections into different industries. So once you've attended this event in October, or even before that, if you want to be introduced to people who work in the sector that interests you, we will be able to find you somebody and introduce you to somebody. We'll have a WhatsApp group to keep you in touch with students from other universities. Once this grows, we will set that up. Next one, please. Thank you. And as I said, first access to our services, our jobs board. So we have a jobs board. It's got about something like 130 jobs on it at the moment. We have new jobs coming on every day. And the beauty of our jobs board is that we have a good connection with the employers who advertise on there. So it is different to a jobs board where you apply to Read or Indeed, for example, because our job placements team, some of you may have spoken to, I think Akiva, you might have spoken to Yael and Melissa. They have a very good relationship with the employers, so we can put in a good word for you, and that helps. All the things that we talked about that I've mentioned today, so job application, interview preparation, as well as bespoke sessions with employment advisors. Next slide, please. And finally, you'll gain top skills that employers like to see. So digital marketing skills, expanding your network, communication skills, team working skills, all of these come through through joining the programme. Next one, please, Hannah. So that really is sort of more or less what we wanted to say. So what we wanted to do is to give you a bit of a taster session as to what Work Avenue is about. And then tell you what we're asking for from you, but also how it works both ways, really. So we're only asking because it's a benefit to you, and it's a benefit to the more people who join, the better. So if you're interested, if you're able to, you could sign up right now. If you just want to copy and paste that link, you can sign up right now. It's just a short form for you to fill out. But before you do that, questions. So how do you feel about sort of approaching other students and talking to them about what we do?
Hi. Pardon. I have a quick question.
Sure.
In terms of reposting and sharing, it's on our personal accounts, and is this like just for social media, or are there ways we can get the word out essentially outside of social media?
So yes, it would be by your personal accounts, because that's the idea, is that you follow us and then you repost. So that would be great if you don't mind. That would be fantastic, because that way, obviously, it's student to student. It's just something we can't do in the same way, because they just don't have the connection with us in the way that they do with you. But yes, I mean, it doesn't have to just be social media. I mean, social media is obviously a great way to attract students, but anything else you can think of, we're all ears. So yeah. Have you got any thoughts, Sophia? Where?
I was just thinking, there's a Jewish society in my university, potentially getting the word out through that, or as well through the JLE, I noticed. So I attend this ladies learning thing at the JLE, and there's a lot of other students there who aren't aware. So
yeah, that would just be amazing. So we have approached all of those. So we have approached the JSOCs, all of them know about today, and the JLE. But it's not the same, it's not the same as you approaching them. And that's really the whole point. Why, sort of we're doing this really is because it will be so much more powerful, more helpful if it comes from you who's already got the relationship.
Yeah, and thank you so much. Yeah, if you could share it, we'll pass on the flyers for the event. You can share it by your WhatsApp group or whatever way you find is best.
Cool, sounds good. I also wanted to ask, outside of the student ambassador program, are there still opportunities for people who have found jobs through Work Avenue?
In the future, you mean after they found a job?
Yeah.
To get some sort of support. I mean, absolutely. I mean, once you join Work Avenue, we are happy to help you with anything at all, really. So we predominantly we talk to people before they find a job. Obviously, we then help them when you're looking onto the next stage of your job. We would help you as well. When you want to get your next job and your next job beyond that. But sometimes things come up like my manager is being really difficult, or I'm not quite sure how to mention this to my manager, or I haven't had a pay rise for 3 years. I really want to know how to talk to them. So we're very happy to help with that. As you heard, my background is HR and is in HR, and all the advisors have specialisms in different areas that can help as well.
Yeah, and if people are thinking of changing jobs whilst they're in a job, we can obviously help them with that. Or just things like how do I impress in the first 6 months?
Okay, anything else? Akiva,
not that I don't have anything to add, but I just wanted to say to Sophia that just at least for my sister, she lives here, and I know that Yael spent a tremendous amount of time with her trying to find a new position, and she's forever thankful because how much feedback and support she was given.
Oh, good. That's lovely to hear. Really nice to see. So, sorry, is that just to tell us about your sister, or are you saying that she's a student at the moment?
No, she's not a student.
Right,
She's I think in a second or maybe third position. But I just wanted to tell Sophia that just to echo the words of Hannah and Melanie, just to say how much Work Avenue are there for you.
Lovely. That's really nice. Thank you very much. So I mean, clearly we didn't get the turnout that we were hoping for today, but I think that kind of says that's why we need this program, really. We really want it to be peer-to-peer. So we'll be relying on the two of you and Natalie and as many people as you can sort of enroll into this. This is going to be recorded and on our website. So you'll also be able to send them a link to the recording. So we'll send something to you after today. We'll send you a copy of the slides. We'll send you a link to the recording, and we'll send you some information on what we'd love to have from you and to join together and work together in the future. And then we'll take it from there, if that's okay. Okay, anything you'd like to add, Hannah?
Not really. I think you said it all. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Any further questions?
Okay, well, really appreciate it. If you're able to sign up now, that would be fantastic. Feel free to do it right now if you'd like to. You just need to copy and paste the. Did you manage to do that, or?
I'll just put it in the chat now. So
right.
we can keep it
Okay.
down.
If you want to copy and paste the link, then you just fill out that form, and that will come back to us, and then we'll obviously send.
Oh, sorry, typo. 1 second. Yeah, so if you just copy and paste the second one, it'll take you to the website. It's just in the chat.
Okay, so we'll leave you with that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'll sign up later after this then. It looks really interesting.
Thank you
Fantastic.
so much.
Absolutely brilliant. We will be in touch with you anyway, both of you, and also hopefully we will grow this, because we only need a few people to start with, and then we'll be able to grow it further.
And thank you. Yes, and either way, you're welcome to access our services, and we're happy to help you further.
Yeah, no, of course.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Lovely to meet you. Good luck with everything, and